What is going on, guys? Sonic and the Bean Show here. Today we're looking at the brand new Sonic the Hedgehog 4-inch action figures from Wave 14 by Jakks. What a surprise right here. I was not expecting this wave to come out this early. It's so crazy because I think I still have like 2 or 3 waves of Jakks action figures to review. So yeah, like I said in the other video, the reviews are going to be all over the place because there's so much stuff coming out. But today we are going to be focusing on the 4-inch Sonic figures from Wave 14. So there's only 3 new figures in this wave. It's Sonic, Knuckles, and Blaze. Sonic and Knuckles, they just have a whole new sculpt here. But Blaze is like the new character in this wave. And then Shadow is really just a re-release, so there's nothing really going on with him. So let's actually start off with Sonic right here. So Sonic just has a whole new head sculpt right here. He looks slightly angry here, but the accessory is a re-release. It's just the 10 ring item box. But the packaging still looks the same way, except like Sonic just has the warning label compared to them. But you know, you got like the logo, you know, their name, and then like the Jakks logo right there. And then turn it all the way around, Sonic has 11 points of articulation, get a Bowery to the side, and then we do got the rest of the figures in this set. It's kind of funny how they got the old Knuckles figure in this render shot right here. Next up we have here is Knuckles. So Knuckles is coming with a yellow spring. And then here is the back of the packaging, 11 points of articulation, a Bowery to the side, and then again the other figures right there. And then we move on to Blaze the cat. So her accessory is the red soul emerald right here. And then here is the back. So she has 12 points of articulation this time. I'm guessing it's because maybe her tail's probably going to have articulation. We get a Bowery right there. And then the same old figures we've seen. So that is pretty much the packaging for these guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack these out of the box and take a closer look. Alright, so the first figure we're going to be looking at here is Sonic. So the only biggest change here on this figure is really just the head sculpt. Now the render shots didn't really do justice here on this figure. It was kind of, Sonic is actually a whole lot angrier this time. You can see how the face is, you know, like the teeth is showing here, and I do actually like it. It's, you know, it's a nice change here. I thought he was just gonna have like a mean sort of grin like the Supersonic figure, but I actually do like this. I think this actually looks pretty nice on the figure. Unfortunately, there's nothing else going on with the figure, like, you know, the arms, the hands, the legs, everything else is like completely the same. So it's really just like, you know, to the head sculpt really. The mouth still isn't really going to match the arms though. The arms are still like a lighter color. So, you know, the mouth and the stomach is okay, kinda, but they definitely don't really match the arms as much. The arms are still like a whole lot lighter. Here is the Wave 1 Sonic figure, so you can see how these two are. This one had a closed fist and an open hand, so this is the same way, but it's the opposite side. And, you know, it's really going to be the same as this Sonic right here. You know, they got the same closed fist here on their left, and then, you know, the open hand right there. So, yeah, you really have that. I'm not really seeing a whole lot like, you know, any difference with the quills. They look about the same to me. Maybe this one, I mean, this one looks a little bit more closed in. This one's like a little bit more open in a way, especially like the Sonic in the Wave 1 right here. You can see how that looks, but I can't tell if, like, maybe the quills are just a tad bit shorter. I want to say that, so let me just put this one here. It's a little hard to really tell, but I do have them like next to each other like this. But I mean, it's really similar, but I think they're just very similar, honestly. Maybe this one's just a little bit more closed in compared to this, but maybe they are just a tad bit shorter. But you can still see everything else is really the same way, like the arms, you know, the legs, the shoes, everything really else is just the same. It's really just all into the head sculpt. So the articulation is still going to be the same way. Don't really need to go over. However, the joints on these shoulders is pretty tight. You can see how if I want to move it up, it wants to tend to go down, or like, you know, just kind of like flex back. So it's weird right there. Like these shoulders for the hinge, it's pretty tight. So that's interesting right there. Ball pegs for the hands. for the hips, forward about here, back about there. You got your single jointed knees, and then ball peg for the feet, swivel out of that. So yeah, pretty much same articulation. Here it is with the supersonic figure. So this is nice because both of these guys are like in that angry expression. Of course, the accessory is the, you know, the 10 ring item box. So he comes with that. Okay, and next up, we're going to be taking a look at Knuckles. Now, Knuckles actually has a lot more going on than Sonic. He actually has a lot more sculpt than Sonic does. You know, it's not really just the head. It's actually going on with the arms, the torso, and maybe the legs and the shoes as well, actually. It seems like Knuckles has a whole new change here. Like, they definitely did a whole lot more work with Knuckles than they did with Sonic, really, and I am all for it because you guys know I really love Knuckles, but he also has a different expression this time, and I think the teeth is actually sculpted in this time. So yeah, a lot of work has been put into this Knuckles figure. I do like that. I mean, if they're doing Sonic and Knuckles, I think eventually at some point we're probably gonna, you know, see something different with Tails in the future, but I am all for it for Knuckles, man. I'm really happy that this guy got some new stuff going on. So let's actually go over that. So let me show off this Knuckles figure so you guys can see the difference here. So I want to say I think the biggest difference here that I'm seeing here is I think this Knuckles is actually a lot taller this time. I'm definitely seeing it here with the height compared to these two. But another thing you'll notice, the shoes is smaller, which I do like. I never understood why they made his feet so big. So the shoes are going to be a lot smaller. He is going to be taller because the torso is a lot longer too. Now, the torso I'm fine with. I do think it's a bit too thin. It does make, I mean, it does look a little too small compared to how it looks with the, you know, like the arms and then the legs, really. So I do wish the torso was like a little bit more wider, but I mean, I think it's okay for it being like this elongated. The moon symbol though on his chest is a little too thin. The knuckles, I believe, are about the same. I'm not really seeing much there. The arms are not as bent compared to this one is, so that is nice. Now, he is getting two-fisted hands this time, so he's not going to get like that open hand they did here. The expression, of course, is different. The purple here on the eyes are a lot darker, so they're not going to be as light as this one is. The nose looks a lot better, actually. The paint on around the face actually looks better overall. The quills are a whole lot different here. You can see they seem like they're a little bit more down. I mean, like more longer, but they also seem a little bit more closer to the torso. Like this one is like more sharp like this, while this one was like a little bit more edged out. So yeah, again, there's definitely some huge changes here on this Knuckles figure. And look at Knuckles next to the movie one. So the movie one is still a lot taller, but you know, watch when I bring in like this Knuckles right here. As you can see, it's like, it's not like too short, but there's definitely like a slight height increase compared to how this Knuckles is. But this one is still taller. We'll actually bring in Sonic. So here how he is with Sonic right here. And this is, you know, the Sonic I just reviewed. So yeah, definitely some changes right there. Now I am going to do some more comparisons, but let's actually go over the articulation really fast. Now it is still going to have the problem with the head turning because the quills are still going to be in the way, and they are a hard plastic. I do wish they were the same like sort of soft plastic they do with like the tail, but when it comes to trying to turn the head, obviously, you know, you are going to have to you know, kind of like work around the arms if you want to turn it anymore. As you can see, like this quill doesn't even want to go through this arm right here because no matter how close well, actually, you know what, I just had to move it in more. But now I can turn a little bit more, but in this quill you have to turn it around the tail, and now you're able to have Knuckles turn around. Now another thing is there is a hinge at the shoulder, but due to how the quills are, that's going to be in the way. If they're not in the way, you get a hinge out of there compared to trying to do that with the quills being there. There is going to be no you know, elbow joints right there, unfortunately. I do wish they started added that in though. So no elbow joints there. Hands just on a ball peg. You get a swivel out of that. Coming to the hips, Knuckles can kick forward about there, and then back. This one's not moving that good, but he can kick back pretty well with this leg. Single jointed knees right there. Ball peg to the feet, get a swivel out of that. And that is the articulation for Knuckles, and he can stand pretty well. So I do like this Knuckles figure. I'm still a little iffy on the expression. It's okay. I don't want to say it's bad. I probably would have liked maybe a closed mouth, but I think a lot of people probably wouldn't really care about it. It's just that I want it to be a little bit different than this one. It's really the same. It's just that the teeth are just showing. I just wish it was like, just a closed, like, angry expression, really. But, like, that's just me, really. So here's how he looks with the Master Emerald, if you want to see how that looks. So that is nice. And then we will do another comparison. So here he is with Chaos. And then we'll try, like, Vector. So we'll get, like, another taller figure. Alright, so here's how these three look next to each other. And then, of course, you do have his accessory, which is really just the, the yellow spring. So you have that. Up next, we finally move on to Blaze the Cat. This is actually a really nice looking Blaze the Cat figure. It's been way too long since we've gotten a whole new Blaze figure, honestly. So she doesn't really have a whole lot of figure. This would actually be like her second figure right here, but this one is actually pretty good. The articulation is still, somewhat basic. It's the same as the other figures, really. So there's that. But the paint job, like in some areas, it's okay in some parts, really, but that could just really be mine. So I want to say that the hair sculpt, or the sculpt in general in this figure, is actually really, really good. So the hair sculpt right here, for the ponytail, the tips are actually like a whole separate piece, as you can see. Very similar to like tails, where like the top of the tips of the tails were like a separate piece. They did the same thing for a hair sculpt, which is nice. You got like the red tie that holds them up. This is painted pretty well. I do like that, except like when it comes to like near here, but like around it, it's okay. The paint so far, like to the front of the face, seems pretty good. I mean, the lashes, they're fine too, actually. Again, the product shots didn't do justice because I thought they looked a little too short, but they actually look a whole lot better in person. Like, they're not really as short as I thought they were. The eyeline, it's fine too. The eyes and then the the collar right here, they're actually painted yellow, so they're not really going to be gold. You still got the red gem on her forehead. So far, the face actually looks okay. I don't really mind the expression. I think that's okay for Blaze. The back of the head, I do have like some paint chips, or not really like some paint chips, but there's like some other paint going on here, like a dot right there. I don't know what's going on, but I got that going on with the figure. The attire is fine. There's actually like some small little wrinkle details around. You can see it. It's very, very subtle though, but you can see it, like on her back, and then like to her arms right here. You still got like her white spiky cuffs to her wrist and her ankles. They don't really look that like sharp, really, like as pointy or whatever like that. But maybe it's because I'm just thinking of like how the Jazzwares one look. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure they were like a whole lot more like spikier than how they look here on the figure. But yeah, you have that. Her shoes is fine too. I still think the shoes are a little bit too pink though, but so far they look painted pretty well there. No details at the bottom of the shoes, but she does have these peg holes right there. And then the tail seems nice too. It does match the color of her, her head too, or her fur really. But yeah, pretty nice. So yeah, that is pretty much the aesthetics for Blaze. And again, I think it's a pretty nice looking Blaze figure. I'm just really happy to get another new Blaze figure, because again, it's been way too long, man. So here she is with the Jazzwares one, because I'm sure you guys want to see how that is. I'm not really just comparing it just for the size, really, of course, but it's really just like the paint, really. So she's like a light lavender with the Jazzwares one, but the expression is still like the same. You can see the difference with like the lashes and then the spiky cuffs that I was talking about. But it just looks like the Jazzwares one. The paint is just a lot more lighter, as you can see. My hand was, or my finger was covering the attire right there, but you guys can see what I'm talking about right there. And then turning the figures around. So yeah, I still think the Jazzwares one still holds up. I mean, I don't think I never really had a problem with this figure, except for like sometimes the joints would get loose whenever I would own this figure like that, or you know, buy it a couple of times. It was usually just always the joints that I was having an issue with. Now her accessory is of course the red soul emerald right here. She can't really hold it though. I know she got like an open hand, but you know, she's not really going to be able to hold it because it is, you know, it's way too big for the figure anyway. But it is see-through. It's like similar to like the Master Emerald, how it was like see-through. So that is pretty nice. But here's how the soul emerald looks next to the Blaze figure. There's also a peg hole right here. So I guess if you want to like put this on play sets, or if you have a stand for that. So yeah, you have that. Now for the articulation, you get a full rotation to the head along with the arms. Hinge to the shoulder goes high about here. Coming down to the hips, she kicks forward just about here. Back, not so much due to, you know, the lower part of her attire right here. So that's going to get in the way. You do have your single jointed knees right there. And then a rotation to the shoes right here. So rotation out of that. And then the tail is really, honestly, it's really just on a peg. You can, it's a little hard to see, but it's really just a peg. So, you know, you're really just getting like side to side with that, just left and right. And that's, you know, pretty much about it. You can't really move it up or down. If I want to move it up, it wants to, you know, move back, move it down. It's just going to go back in place really. So you're really just getting a side to side with the tail, and not a whole lot because, you know, this part's going to hinder that. Along with the leg. So not a whole lot of posing you're really going to be able to do with Blaze, but I guess it's enough. Like I said, the articulation is really basic as the, you know, the other figures really. So there's not a whole lot going on with the articulation, but honestly, you know, I think aesthetically the Blaze figure looks pretty nice. Now I do have the same problem with a lot of figures where I can't really put them in like a vanilla pose. I gotta like balance them out to have them not fall all over the place like that, because I'm actually trying to get her for some comparisons. So here is Silver. So you can see, I mean, it's hard to tell because Silver has like a big head, but I mean, I don't know. I think Silver is still slightly taller, but I don't know. His head is like also just really big. Here's Sonic right here. This is the Sonic that I reviewed. So they look, I want to say Blaze is slightly taller than Sonic. Yeah, it kind of looks like Blaze is a little bit taller than Sonic, which I think she's supposed to be. I don't know. I don't really pay too much attention to how tall Blaze really is. I'll use a bigger figure, so you know, we'll use like Big the Cat. So here is how Blaze is compared to Big, and the top of her, you know, her ponytail is like close to like where his ear is. So yeah, I like that. And then let me use the Knuckles that we just reviewed. So I'll just move Big a little bit here to the side. So here is Knuckles, and Knuckles is actually taller than Blaze. So like I said, they did give some more size to this Knuckles figure. But yeah, I mean, I really do like this Blaze figure. I think this is a really nice looking Blaze figure. Let me use some other figures. So we're gonna compare Blaze with the other female Sonic characters that got figures. So here she is up against like Amy. I know Amy is still really tall, so you know the comparison is gonna be really goofy because of how tall Amy is. Here's Cream right here, and then here is Blaze, or I just said Blaze. Here is Rouge. So there you go. And again, the scaling is like so wonky with these figures, but here's how they all look. So Amy is like taller, Rouge looks slightly taller, and then of course like Cream is gonna be as short as here. Alright, so that is going to wrap up this review on the Jakks specific Sonic, Knuckles, and Blaze 4-inch figures from Wave 14. I gotta say, this entire wave as a whole is pretty good. I like a lot of stuff we have going on here. I'll say the accessories are definitely the weakest part here on this line. They've just been reused way too many times, and I'm not including Blaze of course since hers is new, but the rest are just getting re-release items. I do like the angry expression on Sonic. It's something I wasn't expecting. I just wish there was a lot more going on with the figure rather than just a head swap. The Knuckles is pretty solid as well. I like the new chains they made on this figure. It still has some minor problems like the older one, but it is still an improvement. And this Blaze is really good. I know she's very highly favored, so a lot of people are going to be excited to get this one in hand. And I'll tell you that it's definitely a great looking Blaze figure. It is pretty disappointing she's not able to hold the Soul Emerald, especially since they gave her an open hand. But the Emerald is just way too big anyway, so it wouldn't even matter. But let me know what you guys think about these figures in the comments down below. If you want to pick these guys up, they are currently available at Big Bad Toy Store. I'm not sure when these will hit retail. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the review. And I will definitely catch you guys in the next video. Take care, my friends.